In business news, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC, will soon become a limited liability company in line with the Petroleum Industry Acts. President Muhammadu Buhari has directed that a state oil company be incorporated. A statement released by his office made it clear that he is doing so in his capacity as a Minister of Petroleum Resources. The President has also approved the appointment of the board and management of the NNPC Limited as soon as the company is incorporated. The board will be chaired by Senator Ifeanyi Aramume and have a representative from each of Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. Mele Kolokiare retains his position as the Chief Executive Officer of the new NNPC. And now, the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation has said it is discussing with the Central Bank of Nigeria and other stakeholders on the need to get perfect data for farmers across the country. The Managing Director and CEO NAIC, Mrs. Folashade Joseph, said this during an interview in Lagos that for insurance business to be effective and sustainable, operators should have farmers' robust data, which they should leverage to promote their operations. She said this was crucial to monitoring farm processes, storage, and the deployment of products that would be useful to the agri sector. Joseph noted that the index insurance could not operate effectively without accurate data. Nigerian fintech firm Infree Branches Technologies Limited has secured $2 million in funding from an on-impact investment company backed by oil major Shell to help bridge the energy distribution gap in underdeserved rural and peri-urban areas of Nigeria. Infree Branches provides digital payment service to solar energy providers and is currently the only company in the fintech space that has built a secure platform and serves as a single point of integration for payments and other financial services for service providers in the Nigerian renewable energy sector, according to Tech Cabal. Infree Branches helps companies through its flagship products, Omni Branches and Green Energy Plug with large distribution network, solar home system, SHS distributors, and mini-grid developers manage the operations. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) announced that all collective investment schemes in Nigeria must meet 100% custody requirements and commence policies to implement the rules. This was disclosed in a statement by the Director General of the SEC, Mr. Lamido Luguda, in Lagos on Sunday. The SEC said the custody requirements must cover all funds and portfolios managed by registered fund portfolio managers, adding that clients who are managed under discretionary and non-discretionary mandates were to be held under independent custodian agreements, including mutual funds authorized for public offerings. Still on the business scene, the federal government has lifted a ban placed on flights coming in to the country from India. This was disclosed by the Chairman Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, via a new travel protocol released on Sunday, which indicated that the ban has been lifted. However, the sanctions placed on airlines and convey passengers from restricted countries and travelers who are non-Nigerians remain. Mustafa said, in quotes, non-Nigerian passport holders and non-residents who visited Brazil, Turkey, and South Africa within 14 days preceding travel to Nigeria shall be denied entry into Nigeria. This regulation, however, does not apply to passengers who transited through these countries, end of quote. And on the Africa scene, the revenue generated from the sale of Nigerian gas to 3 neighboring countries for electricity generation rose by 11.36% to $6.47 million last year from $5.81 million in 2019, according to official data obtained by our correspondent. And Gas Limited, a company owned by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Chevron, and Shell, buys gas from oil companies in Nigeria and transports it to Ghana, Benin, and Togo through the West African gas pipeline. The company has executed agreements with upstream producers in Nigeria, Chevron Nigeria Limited, joint venture and Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, and West Joint Venture, and with gas transportation companies Nigerian Gas Company Limited and West African Petroleum Company for the supply and transportation of gas to its customers. Away from that, the firm that served as the nerve center of Nelson Mandela and other activists in their campaign to overturn South Africa's apartheid regime risks permanent closure, according to British broadcaster Sky News. The secret base at Lily's Leaf Farm was used by leading figures of the country's liberation struggle, including Walter Sisulu, Ahmed Kathrada, Joe Slovo, Dennis Goldberg, and Govan Mbeki, along with Mandela himself. After huge losses of revenue during the South African coronavirus lockdown, the heritage site wasn't able to obtain financial support from the government, said the site's chief executive officer, Nicholas Warp. A statement from the farm released in early September said the site has closed its doors indefinitely. And now moving on to the foreign news, the government is considering offering emergency state-backed loans to energy companies as battle firms to stay afloat amid surging gas prices. The Business Secretary, Kwasi Kwarteng, will hold crisis talks with industry bosses including Centrica and E on Monday. High demand for gas and reduced supply are behind the surge in wholesale prices. Consumers are protected from sudden hikes through the government's energy price cap, which is the maximum price they can be charged. But that also means energy firms are unable to pass on higher wholesale costs to their customers, which is forcing some companies to go out of business. The UK's sixth largest energy company, Bob, is seeking a bailout, while 4 smaller firms are expected to go bust in coming days as a result. At the beginning of 2021, there were 70 energy suppliers in the UK, but industry sources have said there may be as few as 10 left by the end of the year. Now, the United States dollar rose to a 3-week high on Monday, extending crude oil losses from Friday, while the U.S. rig count rose despite nearly a quarter of Gulf of Mexico outputs remaining offline as a result of 2 hurricanes. At the time of this writing, the West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures were trading near $72 a barrel, down 64 cents from Friday's level. On Friday, Brent crude futures fell by 0.6%, breaching $75 per barrel for the first time. Following a better expected retail sale data in the U.S., oil fell and the greenback increased to a 3-week high. As a result, expectations grew as the Federal Reserve may begin to reduce its asset purchase program later in the year. Royal Dutch Shell plans to start producing low-carbon jet fuel at scale by 2025 in an attempt to encourage world airlines to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Aviation, accounting for 3% of the world's carbon emissions, is considered one of the toughest sectors to tackle due to lack of alternative technologies to jet-fueled engines. Shell, one of the world's largest oil traders, said it aims to produce 2 million tons of sustainable aviation fuel by 2025, a 10-fold increase from outputs from today's total global output. Produced from waste cooking oil, plant and animal fat, SAF could cut up to 80% of aviation emissions, Shell said.